coal. And no, it should come for steel, and why every time this problem is there, etc. A lot of discussions were taking place. And then somebody pointed out, look, as of now, 70% of the power plants have just 1 week of coal stocks. And half of them have just 2 days of coal stocks. So this is, I'm talking about maybe 2 to 3 weeks back. And that ended the argument, because people would rather have energy and power and live their normal lives rather than, rather than spend it on steel. But it highlights the very important fact that the development of our country, and it is expected to develop in a phase of high growth over the next 50 years. That's the reason why our government also in COP26 did not agree to the targets for 2050 but agreed to the targets for 2070. And this high level of growth, which would take us from being a developing country to a developed country, in a sense, is completely based on coal. The next few decades of growth, that growth will happen only if coal is taken care of. So therefore, a forum like this, where we are discussing the challenges the industry has, is extremely important, because if these challenges are not fulfilled, that growth that is planned for the country is not going to happen. That next 3 decades, we will have to continue to be depending on coal primarily to meet our energy requirements. So I have been given a note which is more about coal in general, but I'll restrict my comments to maybe the logistics part. Okay, if you look at the total picture, there are issues concerned with production. Are we producing enough coal? So there are issues connected with that. Then how are you moving the coal? And what is the quality of coal that is being delivered at the user end? So one also has to plan to reduce the burden of logistics. The logistics challenge will be, in any case, very, very high. And it is also connected with environmental issues. If you have to build more railroads or more channels, minerals, highway, etc., it has to be built on land, and there will be environmental issues connected with it. So how can we reduce the burden on logistics? There were discussions that I've heard about in earlier forums. I'm not an expert on, instead of moving coal, why don't we move electricity? And to what extent can that approach reduce the burden on logistics? While, as we saw in the earlier presentation, Coal India has planned to move from 574 million tons to 1 billion tons in a few years' time. It's a tremendous, it's almost doubling whatever is currently there. It's a tremendous challenge. And while plans are laid out, we know that execution is a bigger challenge in the country, because execution depends on so many different agencies, so many social interests that need to be addressed while taking this forward. So therefore, I would also urge the group that while we discuss that this entire additional production of coal should move through rail or road or something, how can we make sure that we don't have to move it? How can we make sure that we place our country on a firm footing on that envisaged path of growth, which moves from, over the next 50 years to a position where we would be able to stabilize with other sources of energy also. So therefore, I think recently the Ministry of Coal finalized an agenda document which was focusing on coal sector reforms, coal transition and sustainability, institution building and futuristic agenda. And it's the first time that such an agenda document has been compiled. And I'm hoping that these plans include issues such as what I mentioned just now. So, while the will is there from the government is ready to spend 50,000 crores to improve the coal evacuation infrastructure, to support the industry, and which will further improve coal transportation. I think it is the responsibility of all of us as players in this very, very important industry. And I think the outside coal, people don't realize how important this industry is, because, as I mentioned again, without the coal issue getting addressed, the entire question of India developing doesn't arise. This has to happen first. So, which is why the government has committed that kind of funds. The Prime Minister at COP26 announced that by 2070, India would achieve the target of net zero. However, the path to this lower emission is more important than simply achieving that target. And therefore, a more detailed pathway and a roadmap for getting there needs to be developed over the next several years. Coal companies are also doing a lot of, taking a lot of initiatives in regard to reduce their own carbon footprint. But, by putting up rooftop solar and ground-mounted solar projects, etc. But coal-based power will continue to be the basis of growth in India for the next several decades. So it's very important that all the challenges related to it, and specifically the challenge of logistics, is adequately addressed. And I'm sure, as my previous speaker said, the discussions in this forum would ignite ideas and help this group come up with maybe breakthrough solutions to this problem. And I wish you all the best for your discussions, and I thank the Indian Coal Forum for inviting me to be speaking here. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Mr. Stephanos, for that illuminating.
Can I have 3 quick points, please? 3 quick points, please.
Yes, please.
I'd like to say something about what Mr. Stephanos have talked about. Moving power instead of coal is under consideration. A very eminent person and group is working on that. You all know about it. Primus SBI group, which has got consultants on coal, are working on this. So Coal India is aware about it and is really working on that. Secondly, we have got mining engineers here. They understand that the coal seams are so varied that as percentage varies in all 3 dimensions, that is X, Y, and Z. That is why the grades are declared, which are not like what in situ coal is there. It is basically average grades. We are still working on that. The answer is coal prepare. We talk about coal washing and deshelling, and things are working on that. Point well taken, and something which you have ignited, it is working. Mr. Stephanos, thank you for bringing that out and giving me an opportunity to talk about it in this August presence of luminaries who have got put down that thing when they were working, and now we will take care of what they have put in previous to us, and I hope it will be taken further till it is fructified And basically consumers, I'm a marketing man, till my consumer is satisfied, we'll keep on working. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari, for the remarks. Now, we have come to the highlighted position of this function. Now, may I invite Mr. Arun Arora, the chief guest of this function. And before I give him the dais, I'll just like to introduce him. Shri Arun Arora is presently posted as General Manager, Eastern Railways. Prior to his appointment, he was posted as additional member, Railway Board since October 2020. Shri Arora is an alumnus of premier institution IIT Delhi, SCRA, and University of Queensland. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical production engineering and has done MBA from the University of Queensland, Australia, and he has been decorated twice with the National Railway Award for outstanding contribution to railway working. He played a key role as Divisional Railway Manager, Delhi, in launching India's fastest conventional train, Gatiman Express, between Delhi and Agra during the year 2016. He also played a key role as the Principal Chief Mechanical Engineer, Northern Railway, in successful launch of first Vande Bharat Express between New Delhi and Varanasi during February 2019, and second Vande Bharat Express between New Delhi and Katra during October 2019. To fight with COVID pandemic, Shri Arora spearheaded the design and conversion of the conventional coaches as isolation coaches. Under his leadership, NR workshops fabricated lakhs of PPE kits during the lockdown. He has an extensive exposure to the developed railway system in the world: Germany, BD Railways, SNF French Railways, Italian Railways, and US Railroads. He has also been deputed for Senior Management Leadership Program to Bocconi Business School, Italy, and Tepper Business School of Carnegie Mellon University, USA. He is recognized over Indian Railways as a tough and focused administrator who walks the talk and delivers successfully. He has been chosen to lead the Eastern Railway as a prestigious and historical zonal railway of Indian Railways. So, Mr. Arora, please. Thank you, sir.